Good morning, Madam President and distinguished fellows of the Academy of Sciences, Malaysia. I am Dr. Francis Ng, and it is my honor and pleasure today to introduce to you two books by our late friend and colleague, academician Ahmad Mustafa Babji. The first is his autobiography, 455 pages long. The other is the last piece of research that he did, on which he spent several years. The autobiography is in two parts. One part deals with the events in Mustafa's life. Part two is about his concerns for the future of human society. Mustafa wrote in a very readable style, and he had a lot to say that is relevant to us and to the future of Malaysia as a progressive, harmonious, multicultural, and scientific society. I urge all fellows of the Academy to read his autobiography. Mustafa grew up as a kampong boy in Penang and Kedah. And from the very beginning, he was fascinated by the life around him, which included people, animals, and plants of all kinds. He had an insatiable drive to explore and discover the wonders of nature. Mustafa was not a European fascinated by an exotic foreign environment. Instead, he was locally born and bred and did not have the formal exposure to science until he was sent to Lahore to the College of Animal Husbandry by his father, a government veterinarian in Kedah. At college, he was trained in anatomy, pathology, microbiology, parasitology, and how to handle horses, cattle, sheep, and camels. After graduation, he joined the veterinary department in Kedah and was then sponsored by the Kedah government to undergo further training at the Royal Veterinary College of London. There, among other things, he learned how to treat the domestic pet animals that the British like to keep. After his British training, Mustafa was posted to head the veterinary department of Terengganu. There he set up a laboratory so that he could carry out independent research. In Terengganu, he met the lovely lady who was to become his wife. He next went to the University of Queensland and obtained his PhD. His research was on the viral diseases in poultry. From 1973 to 1977, he was seconded to the University Pertanian Malaysia to head the new Department of Veterinary Medicine and Microbiology and to establish its division of Fisheries and Marine Sciences. After his distinguished stint in academia, he went back to the veterinary department and became its Director General. He reinstated the practice of publishing departmental annual reports. He understood that knowledge is just empty talk until it is published and shared. All through his career, Mustafa led by example, working with farmers and his staff while carrying out research as a scientist and making new knowledge available by publishing regularly. In his autobiography, Mustafa observed that many scientists leave research behind as soon as they are promoted to admin positions. Unlike other heads of departments, he maintained interest in research and publication throughout his career. I first got to know Mustafa when he was director of the veterinary department of Terengganu. I was then secretary of the Malayan Nature Society, and Mustafa was an ardent supporter of the society. Later, we worked together in a team set up by the Forest Research Institute under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment to propose and plan for the establishment of a natural history museum for Malaysia. For reasons unknown to me, the ministry did not or could not implement our proposal. Mustafa went to the extent of making an appointment with the Prime Minister of Malaysia to push for the establishment of a natural history museum, but found that the Prime Minister was preoccupied with other matters. Mustafa's last piece of research was on the life of an insect, a weevil about 1 centimeter long, belonging to the genus Cynotraculus. This weevil lives on a bushy tree that grows naturally on neglected bits of ground. These plants were available in Bukit Damansara, in vacant plots of land around his house. The weevil lives a solitary life, with typically one female insect on each tree. To find enough weevils to study, Mustafa located 9 trees around his own house. The female keeps herself busy producing new weevils. She selects a leaf to use as a shelter for each baby. She cuts the leaf partially and rolls up the cut portion to make a rainproof shelter or cradle, in which she deposits 1 egg. Then she looks for another suitable leaf to make a cradle for another egg, and so on and so on. The maximum number of cradles found on one tree was 76. The egg hatches, and the larva feeds on the leaf until it metamorphoses into a juvenile weevil. It then flies away. The male weevils have nothing much to do except to compete with each other and to mate with the female. The weevils are only found during the breeding season in June to August. The rest of the time, Mustafa couldn't find out where they have gone. You may be wondering why Mustafa bothered to study this insect, and why I am bothering you with the details. I have done this to illustrate a statement in the first paragraph of part 2 of Mustafa's autobiography. Mustafa observed that when he lectures, the reaction of local audiences is sharply different from that of foreign audiences. A local audience has low interest in unconventional or new ideas, whereas a foreign audience would be curious and want to know more. I would say that the difference is actually between Western and non-Western audiences. Those of us who know the history of science know that almost every major advance is based on new knowledge made by Western scientists without bothering about how it will be applied. Totally new technologies result from new knowledge. If we demand that research be justified beforehand by anticipated applications, we will be locked in the past, because the only applications we can anticipate would be variations of already existing applications. In this way, we are always behind the West. Mustafa's last piece of research bears testimony to his belief that any research that increases our understanding of nature is futuristic and worthy of respect. Perhaps the ASM should now figure out how to promote Mustafa as a role model to inspire the development of young scientists. Thank you.